Hi everyone and welcome to Trace Network Labs Twitter Spaces. Today's topic is avatars in the metaverse and we are very excited. We have some special guests today as well. Hi Slobo, it's so nice to have you over here. As we wait for our guests, let me tell you what all we are going to discuss. We're going to discuss a lot of interesting topics about the metaverse, avatar, the kind of trends that are driving innovation in avatars, the key to creating avatars in the metaverse, and what kind of fashion will these avatars would be wearing. So a lot of in-depth discussion on a lot of things, and we have a lot of expert speakers on these topics. So I'm very excited for the next 1 hour. We're going to discuss a lot of interesting topics. So just wait for our speakers to jump in, and we are going to have an awesome discussion. Hi Kashish, so nice to have you.
Hello. Yeah, thanks for inviting me, guys. Looking forward to discussing about avatars today.
Awesome. We're looking forward to having you speak as well. We have all our speakers now as well. We have a number of listeners as well. So, without much further ado, I think we should all start. Before we start, let me tell you Trace Network Labs does these kinds of Twitter spaces every week, wherein we do one topic around the metaverse, Web3. And today's topic is about avatars, which is something we are very passionate about at Trace Network Labs. We're also going to discuss topics around avatars. So, whether it's NFTs, fashion and avatar, how that relates to avatars. So a lot of interesting stuff going to happen. My name is Poshak Dua. I head marketing for Trace Network Labs. So I'm very excited to talk to a panel of speakers today and let's see what they have. So without much further ado, let's start with a quick introduction of our speakers today. So Karan, why don't we start with you? Can you in a minute or so quickly tell us what do you do and how did you get into Web3 metaverse and all the exciting things around it?
Hey, hi. Sorry. Thanks for having me. First off, you start with that. And yeah, intro-wise, I've been an artist for 15, 18 years now, since I was a kid. Did fine arts, and when I began, then did my undergrad in 2D animation, stop motion, and illustration, and did my master's in 3D animation, motion graphics, and film. And I've just been doing something or the other for a long time. Then I was in America first, and I moved out back to India just before COVID happened. So while COVID was going on, I was pretty much locked in my house as everybody else was, just drawing and making what I wanted to make. And when NFTs came around last year in 2020, I was fortunate enough to have a body of work to go. And I've been in crypto for a while now, since 2014 or 2015. So was very familiar with the concept of it. So NFTs was just a natural transition for my art going forward, and it's been a great ride. I met so many great people here. I've got an art community I only dreamed of 10 years ago in India that is now like flourishing, and I'm loving it. Yeah, I'm just excited to be a part of it.
Awesome, and we are excited to have you. You were quite early in Web3 and Metaverse and all the other things. So it'll be interesting to have your perspective on take as we take the conversation forward. That's amazing, Karan. Next, we have Kashish. So Kashish would love a quick introduction of how did you get into NFTs and Web3 and what are you looking forward to?
Yeah, sure. So, hi everyone. It's Kashish, and I'm an artist. Just like Karan, like I've always been the creative kid, so I've been doing it for quite a while. So, yeah, and also like I'm an engineer and a self-taught artist. I like to mention that because that's how engineers roll. Yeah. So yeah, I've been doing art for around 8 or so years, I think, and yeah, completely self-taught. And as for like crypto, I started like I wasn't into crypto at all, but like even before NFTs, I was reached out by Polygon, which was like formerly Matic, to like be a designer for them, which I took the offer, so I was in the Web3 space then. Then the whole like people NFT auction happened and like NFTs blew up, and I started looking more into that front as well. And I was fortunate enough to like sell a few of my pieces as well. And I even did collabs with a few like very big name artists like Amritpal Singh and Prasad Bhatt. So yeah, that's been my experience. And looking forward, I really like how this space is growing. Like there are a lot of things that we didn't even imagine could be possible, and that's like how the creativity is flourishing in this space. We like every day we're seeing new and new applications of like NFTs, and even like metaverse is a very like interesting concept. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Awesome. That's amazing, Kashish. Being an engineer and also being into the art world, I can't imagine the kind of perspectives you would have, especially considering that NFT is kind of a combination of the two.
Yeah, true.
So, really excited to talk to you as well and take the conversation forward. Let's go to our last speaker. In fact, we have two speakers today. So, let's go to Muskan first and then Slobo. Muskan, welcome to Twitter Spaces of Trace Network Labs. A quick 1 minute introduction of how did you start and what are you currently doing?
Um, hi people. Thank you for hosting me. Okay, so I'm Muskan, and my journey in Web3 started with my. I have a mentor here in Journey. I am just 1.5 month old in Web3. So basically, I'm a computer science engineer by degree, but like all in my professional life for 3 years, I have been into marketing and management, and and I am always enthusiastic about sustainable fashion, and I was working towards in this domain since 2 years for raising the awareness and trying to figure out something in Web 2, like building a commercial platform, a e-commerce platform for sustainable fashion products. But with the introduction of Web 3, my college mates are basically Shoshmit and Ranjan sir, who are the co-founders of Huddle. They introduced me to Web 3, and with that I can see that with Web3 we can do a lot in sustainable fashion industry. Like the idea which I basically had in mind with Web2, it would be a linear growth, but with Web3, like I think we can make an impact in a greater way. So yes, I entered with Web3 for sustainable fashion only, to be honest. But now I got a good opportunity for working with Comet. So yeah, I'm the community owner at Comet right now.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Muskan. And I think all of us got into Web3 through some or the different connection, and it's fascinating to see all of us here. Personally, Trace Network Labs is very passionate about fashion and fashion avatars and metaverse. So it'd be really interesting to discuss all of this with you. Finally, last but not the least, we have Slobo over here as well. So, Slobo, it's so great to have you over here and give you a 1 minute quick introduction of what you do and how are you here.
Glad to be here. Thank you. Um, so I got into Web3 because I discovered ENS and bought Slow.eat. Noticed that there was no way to chat from your, you know, global username, and decided to build that. And ever since, I've been just really passionate about, adding more utility to and all the different benefits that are there. Sorry for the background noise a little bit. Come down in a little bit. But yeah, that's my journey. I've been here for a couple of years and hope to stay for a lot more. And thank you.
Amazing. And the fact that you're building this chat interface for a lot of these things makes me wonder how avatars are going to interact in the Web3 space. So I think that's also a discussion we can have today, since our broader topic is avatars and metaverse. So it'll be really fun to talk to you about that. So, with that, you've got a basic introduction of what all our speakers are currently doing in the metaverse. I think we have a broad sort of scope, and yet all are doing something in the metaverse web3 space, so it'd be really exciting, and I think we can get a lot of different perspectives today. So let's start with a basic question. I think let's go with Kashish for this. Kashish, what does it come in your mind when you hear the word avatar? And since you've been designing all of that, so how do you understand avatars in the metaverse or virtual world?
Yeah. So I'll tell you what I initially like envision when I hear the word avatars, because characters are kind of like my passion to do when it comes to like art. So yeah, every time I like hear the word avatar, I imagine a very like unique character or like a very unique personality, which is visualized in a way that it like the looks fit the personality. So that is what I think when it comes to avatars, and there have been like too many avatar projects over the course of like few years, which I've seen and I've really enjoyed. Um, and sorry, can you repeat the second question or the second part?
I think, yeah, that was it. Just sharing your
Yeah.
perspective on avatars and the kind of things that come into your mind when you hear the word avatar. Like, how do you understand it? How do you
Hmm.
explain it to
Yeah.
people?
Yeah. In terms of crypto, yeah. So I've been seeing a lot of like PFP projects, and like the best part about them, I feel like in crypto space specifically, is that there are too many like different artists who showcase their own art styles when it comes to different avatars, and basically like show how you can kind of portray a different personality in different art styles, which are still like true to their own like initial conception. So yeah, that should be it.
Awesome. Yeah, that makes sense. And I really like the fact that you said you like unique sort of characters. And I think
Yeah.
that's our thesis as well. I just posted up. You guys can check it out as well. So the kind of avatars that we have are identical looking avatars. So these will look exactly like you. So the AI will click a picture of you and it'll mold it in the way that the avatar would look exactly like you. So there's nothing as unique as you yourself. So that's one of our passions in the metaverse space, and I'm sure there are a lot of different creative things that people are doing with avatars. So it's really interesting to see all the different things. Let's go to Karan next. Karan, what's your understanding of avatars? How do you look at the space?
Um, yeah, this is a kind of it's a complex and almost premature, stage of this to kind of know how this will all play out in terms of how our usage of avatars in the space as it evolves and gets a little bit more commercialized and just more in depth. Right now you see the PFP project and stuff, but and there is a sense of community there. The board apes use it in a commercial way. Also, you see them popping up in music videos and stuff. So there is a use case there for now, in that area. But in terms of the actual avatars, when the metaverse materializes in some way or the other, I think the movie that got it pretty accurate to what I see it happening is Ready Player One. How they're able to kind of switch around, so it wouldn't just be one avatar. You'd kind of have a library of them and put them around however you feel that day. That either from attire or the character itself. Like you might switch between projects and things, or some sort of a usage where you do have customizations of your own face to bring into these projects since you bought into them and kind of merge them in some way. So there's so many possibilities. It's really hard to say how this will go, but I do see it, like there is enough evidence in the history and stuff like gaming and how we use skins there to analyze how we'd end up kind of using it even in this expanded space. And getting more people in. Basically, a lot of the stuff that is happening is all stuff that's been happening in video games for a while now. It's just kind of materialize it in a more cohesive, solid, and wide-ranging way. But I see principles still applying the same, like similar like skins and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I read a tweet. Someone was saying that the metaverse is already here in terms of the fact that the gaming thing is going on and the currency thing is going on and some other thing is going on, and all we need to do is just combine all of those things.
Yeah, I
So
don't think metaverse is a place. I think it's a time, an era of sorts, and that's kind of what we're starting onto right now. I don't think it's going to be one place because everybody's going to have their own metaverse. You'll be able to kind of like hang around outside with your friends one day and be like, "Hey, I'll meet you at Nike World," and "Oh no, I'll come over to whatever else." So everybody's going to have their own little bubbles everywhere, and you're kind of able to roam almost like a universe, and free roam it, like No Man's Sky. I don't know if you guys know it. It's a similar, it's a game based on procedural stuff, but it's going to be very similar. You'll be able to bounce around and explore a universe of craziness.
absolutely, absolutely. And that's one of the things that we at Trace also believe, that these metaverses are going to be interoperable. So the kind of tech that we want to build and the kind of metaverses we want to have is interoperable metaverses where our avatars could go in some other metaverse and vice versa. So that'll be really interesting. Slobo, let's come to you next. You saw both of them say certain things. What's your opinion on it, and how do you think this is going forward?
Yeah, I kind of look at avatars as the ultimate way to express yourself digitally. Because historically, you only had your name, and I agree with the other panels that speakers that we're still so early, and we need more fidelity of how we can express ourselves. And like the PFPs are great, and I like how it gives artists an opportunity to grow and explore themselves. but I think it's just the beginning. And I just saw your little demo, and seeing how you can like fully digitally represent yourself. The first thing that came to mind there is, well, obviously I'd want to dress that avatar. And I think in a way we're just slowly replicating kind of the quote unquote real world into the metaverse. And we're really early in the process, but the thing that drives it is self-expression. And I think that's boundless. So that's why like the opportunity to how to express yourself online is boundless as well. So that's kind of my take on the whole thing.
Wow, that's an amazing summary, Slobo. I couldn't agree more on that. The avatar is the ultimate way to express yourself in the digital world. That's such a great line. So taking forward that, let's go to Muskan for a second because she's really passionate about fashion. So if let's say in a way all of these avatars would be there in the world, whether it's some kind of a PFP representing us or whether it's a identical looking avatar that we at Trace have. So all of we at some point get bored of the way we are wearing, and we would want to change our lifestyle, express ourselves in a different way, change the fashion. So that's where fashion in metaverse comes in. So Muskan's been working on that. So Muskan, how do you think these fashion things for avatars will work in the metaverse?
Yeah, so I agree completely with other panelists. Yeah, as Slobo said, fashion, metaverse is avatars is a way to express yourself. Same goes for fashion, in real life also and in URL also. Fashion is all about expressing yourself. It gives you a platform, opportunity to express yourself. Like it did for me. So like fashion, for fashion I can all say is that with avatars in picture and with metaverse in picture, there is a lot of scope. The thing you said about repeating outfits, so repeating outfits will be then an outdated concept because of metaverse and avatars, because like people will be in a new space on metaverse where they will be able to express themselves with different outfits on day to day basis, or with real time. But in real life, yes, we have to purchase new outfits every alternate days. That's what we call fast fashion is, and how it is like affecting our environment and stuff. Yeah, I will be talking more about it in length. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a great summary. I think the fashion in metaverse and all of that saves a lot of sustainable drives a lot of sustainability and saves a
Hmm.
lot of things in
Yeah.
the environment. Absolutely. Yeah. So looking forward to what else you have to say on that. Moving on. So we have fashion in the metaverse for these avatars. I'd love to discuss what other things do people see as driving innovation in metaverse. And by the way, at any point, if any of you speakers or even someone who's listening has a question, feel free to raise your hand and speak. And maybe argue. Don't argue with each other, but like just express your comments and thoughts as well, so we can make it as fun and interesting as we can in the next 40 minutes that we have. So let's go with Karan for this one. Karan, do you see any innovations happening in the metaverse, since you're saying it's very early, the kind of things that you're excited about, especially related to avatars, if there's anything that comes to mind?
Um, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different things. A lot of them very early to say if they'll even succeed. But I think one project that stands out amongst the crowd, especially because it has a lot to do with what they're doing with fashion and inclusivity, is the 10KTF project. Um, I don't know if you're aware of it. It's this like it's basically it is a fashion NFT, but the concept of it, when at least when it started, was people would bring in their own PFPs like Bored Apes, or they have a coalition of like 10 of them: Bored Apes, Cool Cats, Penguins, Oni Force, and all these projects. You bring in these projects, and you could get custom gears like shoes, sweatshirts, and similar things with your PFP on it. That was what it was initially started as, of this like kind of a fashion offshoot, and it's grown up into this like very fledgling and properly executed project, which involves a lot of complicated stuff like tools and staking and reward systems. They have like missions going on right now where you can kind of use avatars and gear to fight and get rewards from it. They have collaborations with Gucci that they've been giving out some stuff for, like airdrops and stuff on top of that as well. So there's a lot that they're doing, which is I found one of the more interesting attempts at trying to kind of create this unified, you know, story and fashion and kind of street style atmosphere into this place. And they're working closely with yoga labs and stuff too. So they're a pretty big name and dependable name that I've seen, and it's one of the only projects I have that is being profitable, at least for now. So like I'm definitely a big fan of theirs. But yeah, they definitely pop out as a shot at the people that are kind of working the space and doing really good for a long time.
Awesome. Yeah, that's really exciting. What comes to my mind is projects like Steppen and a lot of other projects we're building in the fashion side, Artifact, of course. But there are very few in the avatar side that I see doing a lot of interesting work. I mean, I'm, of course, not as aware of what's all happening that in the metaverse space. But yeah, these are some exciting projects. And thank you for sharing that. Can you tell the name again? It's called 10K PFP? Is that the name?
It's called 10K TF. It's basically the short form is 10,000 true fans, I think. So
Got it.
10K TF. Yeah, they're they've been pretty consistently doing some really cool stuff, and there's a running joke, which is pretty much accepted, that people is on their crew, is working with on the project. It's just not, he does never openly admits it, but drops pieces in relation to it all the time. So like there's a whole thing. They're very well connected, and the execution and the dedication to what they're doing, especially in something like including, like 12 different PFP projects can join in and get their own gear and, kind of work together inside this other project. It's a really cool concept. I haven't seen it used that much elsewhere.
Awesome. That's so amazing to hear all of these new innovations happening, and Web3 moves at a completely fast pace. So it's even difficult for me to catch up what all is happening. Let's go to Kashish for a second. Kashish, you've been working, I think, with Polygon, and you've been creating a lot of these designs. So I'm sure you're very in touch with the kind of innovation that's driving. Would love to know what are the kind of new things that you're seeing in the space.
Yeah, actually, surprisingly, I haven't like explored the whole metaverse space that much to comment on the innovations. But yeah, profile pics and the whole avatar concept is definitely something that would be like very interesting to explore in this end, because again, what I like how I view metaverse is it's basically a digital identity and a digital world kind of that you partake in, kind of like which is synonymous to the real world that we live in. And like again, express freedom of expression is something that is very much required there, and I think avatars could be something which might facilitate that like very much. So yeah, I'm definitely on lookout for innovations in that end, but again, like I haven't explored it that much to be able to comment on that.
Amazing. Yeah, that makes sense. So it's really interesting. Even though you're so deep into the space, not everyone is able to catch up with everything that's happening, and that's very similar
Yeah,
to.
the space moves fast, man.
Yeah, yeah, it's really fast. So let's go to Slobo. Slobo, how what are the kind of things that you're looking at? Especially, you're into the communication aspect of things. So the kind of innovations happening through that, you can share that as well, maybe.
Yeah, so I kind of really keep an eye on like dynamic NFTs and by extension dynamic avatars, because kind of like uh, uh, I don't want to butcher people's names, so that's why I'm not referring to folks by name. Um, it's sort of like you want to dress differently every day, but in the real world, there's a lot of friction to put on a shirt, take it off, and put it on. But in the kind of like the metaverse world, I can see a world where you don't actually put on a clothes, you put on a piece like them. The algorithm changes based on other things that happen throughout the day. So, and like because there's no friction to it in the digital world, I kind of see avatars and the clothing and the fashion coming almost more algorithmic because it's a more fine grained way to express yourself. So I don't know if that's innovation. I'm not like deeply plugged in into the metaverse. I just focus on communication and enabling people to like easily see what they're about and like have a conversation. But if I kind of step back and kind of, for lack of a better word, hopefully this is not too inappropriate, bullshit on it. That's I think it is all of this algorithmic based closing that kind of is based on the way, just based on the character's mood. All these things that aren't really possible in the real world become easy and kind of almost mandatory in the digital world.
Awesome, yeah, and I think the BS makes sense because I was reading about this as well. Like, imagine a person who loves to wear some, maybe a dress which has some flames on it. In the metaverse, he could actually be on flames, and that could be a dress. So the kind of avenues that it opens for creators and artists to just come up with wacky ideas is just amazing. And coming to that fashion, I think we have Muskan to tell us a lot about that as well. So, Muskan, the kind of innovation that you're seeing in the fashion for these avatars and what's happening there, would love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah. So, Poshak, before answering that, I would like to comment on what Kashish said, that he is not completely into metaverse. He has not deep dive into it yet. Uh, to be honest, I would like to say, like, everyone here or in Web3 doesn't know much about metaverse, because I might sound a bit, poetic or artistic, but I feel metaverse is a blank canvas. Okay, so where we have to put out our views, we have to paint it with our views. So that's my thing on metaverse. Yes, we are in a very early stage. And coming to fashion industry entering to metaverse, yeah, I see a lot of innovation and scope there. But the thing is, there are some challenges as well. I was attending a space few days back with some fashion experts, and they are talking about the some experts in the traditional fashion industry, physical fashion industry. So with the emerging of fashion industry in metaverse with avatars, now they have to cater to the needs of two audiences, the user base of both physical audience, feel like physical industry audience, and both digital audience. So it's a kind of challenging for, like, for them, but it's understandable because it is a transition right now, it is a change. So with time, yeah, this, no doubt, this transition will be smooth with the innovation and advancement we all are making in web3. Yeah, but there are a lot of scope of innovation here. Yeah.
I want to
Uh,
ask a question.
Yeah.
sure, go
Do
ahead,
you
Srubo.
do you think the existing fashion brands are going to figure out the metaverse, or do you think it's more likely that uh, new metaverse like first brands are going to be the ones that create it? Because whenever like there's a transition in technology, the
Hmm.
incumbents just kind of struggle. What do you kind of what's your perspective on?
Yeah, my perspective on that, like, it will be a mix of both. Okay, so the physical fashion industries, like, which have enough resources to cope up with this transition, they will be able to, like, if they are able to hire such resources, such technical resources, like, which can ensure the smooth transition to digital, also digital brand also, like let's say in India, so some Indian brands, some Indian very big designers, the Manish Malhotra and Sabyasachi, they tried metaverse, they tried, this Web3 domain, and they were like India is very behind in this, and like we will get to this like after 3 to 4 years. Okay, so I guess such brands who has this thinking may lag behind, but other brands are already working on it, like Tommy, CK. They're already using this 3D avatar stuff, you know for making their supply chain more sustainable. And and coming back to the point, for new brands, yes, I am in touch with so many new brands, like independent fashion artists, like who are getting a creative space now to design their own outfits digitally, and they're doing it so beautifully. And with them, they're building a new brands also, they're building new brands. So yeah, I think it is giving platform or space to both kind of industry, like new brands also and old brands also. It is just that the old brand should know how to take leverage out of it. That's it. Yeah.
Thank you. That's great.
Awesome. I think one of our speakers, Aditya, has a question. Aditya, go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Hello, everyone. Hello, sir. I want to ask what is the strategy to attract more to enter the metaverse industry?
Is your question specifically to someone, Aditya?
Kara Kara.
Was it me? I mean, in terms of bringing people in, the strategy for the metaverse would, I assume, be progress. For there has to be some sort of a solid product to put forward to the masses to get them on board. Right now, Web3 is a little bit of an issue. Any artists I onboard, I have to kind of walk them through wallet securities and how to manage their money properly and all that kind of stuff that is a little bit more technical for the layperson to either want to commit to learn or want to learn at all in the first place. So I guess once it's a little bit more packaged, it'll be easier to market. But until then, it'll pretty much be the dreamers and the triers and the guys that really want to just kind of see the potential and make something out of it in the beginning, similar to how the internet started, and it took a while for people to kind of come on board.
Amazing. I hope that answers your question, Aditya. And just to what Muskan was saying, I'd like to add to that as well. Apart from just fashion brands, I think a lot of new creators and artists are just getting a new life. Like in our last Twitter Spaces, we had this artist Melvin Thambi, and he was in, I think, in US somewhere, but he's from Kerala, and his daughter, who's just 12 years old, went to NFT NYC and she created these amazing pieces of art. I think her name was Teresa. And the kind of just pieces that she created as a young kid, and people are just passionate about the kind of characters that she created as just a 12-year-old. So I can see a lot of new kind of artists just coming out onto the scene and just creating things that at my age when we were 12 no one could even imagine. So that's amazing.
Yeah, so I would like to add here, yeah, we didn't get this opportunity, this exposure during our age, yes, but for creative space, maybe like we discussed about fashion, you told about art, and there is, music also. There are so many music NFTs, they are doing, really great, and just a form of expression, like it may be in terms of music, fashion, art, or anything. Like I can see, they are using just this arts also for very positive, like positive utilities for the world, like in form of NFTs, and they're also using it for commercial purpose also. So like there are three things here: commercial thing is there, there is environmental sustainability aspect is there, and then there is emotional aspect is there here at Metaverse and with avatars.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just kind of everything that drives humans together in a tribe, everything combined. So now that we're on the topic of art and creators, I'd love to go to Karan again. And Karan, if you could share, in fact, all of you, like, but let's start with Karan for this one. Like, you've been creating, I think, a lot of these pieces of art, if I'm not wrong. And so, what's been your lesson? And if there's anyone listening who wants to get into it as well, the kind of things that they would need to create great pieces in the metaverse and maybe for the avatars in the future. Anything that you'd like to share?
So I mean, my focus in terms of creation in the NFT space is very much in art, only like fine art kind of an approach. I had a little bit of fine art background, so I used the similar mindset that you're trying to sell digital paintings. And what were some of the strategies that traditional painters use to kind of create or create while also not letting the system, the capitalistic part of it, weigh down their creativity. So I kind of approach it in that sense, and that being in that approach, the one advice I keep giving artists is consistency and perseverance. I think that's the most like two very important things as a creator in the space, because you're going to see markets go up. Like right now the market is down, but I saw a lot of artists are coming in right now in this market, and they when they see the bull market, they might be like, oh, this is awesome, but they might quickly forget that they came in the bear market, and then they'll see a bear market happen afterwards, and that's the point where a lot of faith gets shaken. And I see a lot of artists that joined in like January or February, or March, when the market was good, and then when the market kind of crashed in May and June, they lost a lot of that drive and hope. And having seen plenty of these bear markets before, and I'm sure I'll see a bunch of them moving forward, because this is a volatile, space a little bit in terms of that. The best advice I've given in terms for a long term stance as a creator is to just keep creating through whatever all the stuff is. Keep the artistic side of it, of yourself and your practice, very much alive, no matter what's going on the outside. And this is easier said than done. I'm sure there are people that work two jobs, that balance. I used to do that as well until I kind of committed to art full time. So you can feel demotivated while you're trying to do other things, or like earn a living while also kind of try to do it here if things are down. But kind of put it outside of your mind. You do it as a artistic exploration and your own personal brand, artistic brand, and just kind of keep creating through everything. And it does pay off. I'm an example of that as well. So
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that, Karan. I think everyone who's listening, that if they're an artist, listen to this advice. This is amazing. And you might create a beautiful piece of art, or you might just create a goblin town, and who knows, maybe that also works sometimes. So to each his own. So next, let's go to Kashish for this. Kashish,
Yeah.
I can see you're very passionate. You want to say something as
Yeah, definitely. I would love to add a few things to this. Again, like coming to the NFT space, I think NFT or metaverse, like the whole Web3 space. What I would advise a newbie is like don't forget the fact that you are an artist, and matlab, you just need to do whatever the hell you've been doing so far. Because NFTs, metaverse, you can think of it as just another like income stream for your like arsenal of things that you do. So like. Staying true to what you have been doing thus far helps. Like there was a time when people thought that only 3D NFTs were being sold, so everyone was like, okay, now which softwares do I need to learn to be able to create these 3D NFTs, right? Which I thought I like personally have seen people try and have failed because they were not true to what they have been doing so far, and they tried to like switch on the spot and just do what they didn't like doing or they were not passionate about, and it didn't work for them. So I think staying true to your art form, or like staying true to your craft and being honest about yourself is the biggest thing you can do in this space or in any space for that matter, I would say. And other than that, uh, yeah, I think like Karan mentioned, you have to have a lot of like perseverance. You have to show up pretty much and like stay active in this space, which is true for like like non Web3 spaces as well. Like if you want to get your art noticed, or if you want to get yourself noticed, you need to show up to events and like talk to people. So I think yeah, it's pretty much the very generic advice, but I think it's the best that I one can give. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that, Kashish. And I think I completely agree. I second that being true to yourself is very important. I'm personally a magician and a mind reader as well. That's how I got into NFTs, because I thought it's a great idea to kind of fund stage shows, since it's so difficult to do your own theater shows in today's digital environment. And yeah, anytime when I've tried to do something that's kind of not me in the theater show arena, stage show space, it's never worked. And every time I've been true to myself, it just sort of clicks and everything works. So yeah, okay, second that. Just be true to yourself if you're an artist, and keep creating and keep taking feedback and keep growing. So yeah, moving on. I think we have Slobo and Muskan as well. Would love to know the kind of things that, maybe the kind of art, you guys are not artists as far as I understand, but like if you're seeing any art that inspired you, or the kind of things that you look forward to in the metaverse space. Would love to know. Slobo, let's go with you, and then Muskan.
Yeah, I'm not a I'm definitely not an artist, and but I do think that any creative enterprise is artistic in nature. So, but I don't really have any advice nor anything that drives me. I did see a couple of interesting paintings or photography that I don't think I would have cared before, but because I was into NFTs, like my palette for art has increased. Um, and obviously, I buy a little bit of NFTs that are like low price, but I think I think the metaverse and all these NFTs actually bring kind of non artist appreciators into the space, and then you're like, oh, I'm buying this. Maybe it goes up, maybe it doesn't, and all of a sudden, like, oh, I'm a de facto art collector, even though like you would have told me that 2 years ago, I would have been, I'm not an art collector. I don't know anything about art. So I think that's the only kind of anecdote I have there. So take it for what it's worth.
I think it's fair. Yeah, I think not. Yeah, with the kind of things, like every creative, every kind of entrepreneurial journey is also an artist's journey in itself, and the fact that you're doing that is inspiring. And yeah, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Muskan, what do you have to add to that?
Yeah, so obviously I'm also not an artist, but yeah, I have always been a art appreciator. So I love, seeing beautiful things, appreciating them. And here the scope in web3, what I liked about arts is, the thing is, with art, like, it is not just a painting or a picture or an illustration. Okay, and that art has some value, like, in the form of NFT, that have some key utilities, some value behind it, which is helping, in many, like, different possible ways in real life also, and like in online life also. It is helping people with, like, let's say, social cause, environmental causes. And the NFTs, which are some good utilities. Some NFTs, some art pieces will give you access to some events, token getting, the thing we call about. Okay, some art pieces will give you, like, you're not just buying an art piece, and appreciating the art, you are also, supporting some good causes. So like, that's what I love about web3, which gave artists this platform, to do something bigger with their art pieces, not, just only, showcasing them. It is helping, other people, to improve other people's life. Yeah, that's my point here.
Awesome. Yeah, that's amazing. Like anytime you could improve other people's lives, that's awesome. I
Yeah.
just share my opinion on it. Like I wasn't into art as well. I think most of us didn't buy art pieces before this. Like
Hmm.
I think it was considered like a luxury thing. And Balaji also has a quote like, as he says, like things that were constant are now becoming variables. So like this luxury art market, which was all was considered a constant to just rich people, now everyone has access to buy art. And so a lot of these like for personally for me, I connect to a lot of geek things. So sort of I'm fascinated by Tesla the company and Cybertruck and all of that, and also Van Gogh as an artist. So I found this weird art piece, and I think the guy was also in one of our Twitter spaces. I can't recall the NFT series right now, but I'll definitely share it on my Poshak Dua, my account. So he created this painting piece, art piece, where it was just a Cybertruck, and the painting was inspired by Van Gogh, and it was so inspiring to me. I painted it exactly like that, and the person became my friend. And I'm planning to buy that NFT. So it's just amazing the kind of communities that you get to be a part of just out of interest, and which weren't possible before. So I'm really excited about where art is going in terms of NFTs and everything. Moving on, I think we've discussed everything about metaverse and avatars today. Let's move on to avatars and metaverse tomorrow and in the future, and where we see all of this finally heading towards. So let's go with this question: How do you all of you think brands evolved in the metaverse using avatars? So let's go with Muskan this time first. So Muskan, you've discussed about fashion brands, so I would love to know your opinion on fashion brands and how they are. You've said some things already, but how do you see them evolving in the metaverse using avatars maybe and going ahead?
Yeah, fashion industry can use this avatar and metaverse for, promotional tools. Basically, these NFTs and avatars can be promotional and marketing tools for them, for their PR or product development. And as we know already, there is a big gaming culture in metaverse. Okay, so with gaming culture, and with avatars, they can reach to younger generation also. There are, small people, like teenagers, and like younger than them also, like 12-year-old, 14-year-old, who are passionate about gaming. So with avatars and fashion, they can reach out to them, like they can make their audience bigger, wider, with NFTs and avatars. Okay, and one more thing I will like to mention here, that it will help them to get better customer engagement also. Okay, let's say how, because before buying, there will be a try and buy opportunity or chance for the consumers of fashion industry. Okay, so, and it, like, it will give a feeling to the like consumers of personalization and customization, like, which is a unique feeling we always want to, like, every customer wants. So yeah, so with metaverse, fashion industry will be able to connect with the consumer in a very better way, and in a very, inclusive manner, I would say. Yeah.
Awesome. I think that's amazing. And I see a lot of these people, especially some of my friends, being really passionate about sneaker culture and all of that, to the extent that a lot of them consider these shoes as assets.
Yeah.
and they tell they're going to hold it for like 10, 20 years. But a part of my brain wonders, will that shoe survive 10 years? But if it's a digital shoe, I think it will survive. So a lot of those things which people consider assets in the digital world, certainly they'll hold a lot more value than they do in the physical world.
Yeah, and also I would like to mention here, yes, like there are so many good sneaker NFT projects. Adidas has also entered into this industry already. Okay, so not only this digital products, the NFTs, like there will be a time I can see in the roadmap of so many good NFT projects where, like in stage 2 or 3, like they will be helping us to redeem those products also, those outfits or those sneakers. So like it will be not just a digital a picture or PFP, you can say, or an outfit, you can say. Like yes, we will be able to redeem it, or like even redeem it multiple times also. So yeah, that's also a use case of fashion, like in fashion industry when it comes to metaverse and NFTs and avatars. Yes.
Awesome. That's a great perspective, Muskan. Thank you so much for sharing that. Slobo, what do you think about brands in the metaverse, especially since you're in the communication space? Maybe how these brands interact in the metaverse. I don't know. What's your opinion on it?
Yeah, I mean, I think brands have always looked for an opportunity to get as close to the customer as they can. Uh, they are always awkward when they enter new communication like arenas, right? Like because it's hard to be cool, quote unquote, when you're a big brand coming into something that's grassroots. I don't really know how it's going to develop. I know that as more time is spent in the metaverse, uh, the brands are going to continue to focus. And I think that try before you buy really makes a lot of sense to me. And I think the only comment that I have is that I don't know if the folks here are familiar with Unisocks. Basically, the Uniswap had a token that lets you get a physical sock, and then that token ends up being traded for like $50,000. If you burn it, you actually get the sock. So effectively, there are people walking around who got this, $50,000 token and exchanged it for socks. I, I think something like that is gonna continue to happen. I just like I don't know Jack. I don't know anything about fashion or the future, but it just seemed like such an interesting human interaction that I hope to see more of it, where like you buy a digital representation, becomes really valuable, and then when you wear it, it gives you even more clout, even though the item you're wearing is like a, a plain sock. So, anyways, sorry for my rambling there.
I think that's awesome, Slobo. A lot of people. I think there was the guy of creator of Rainbow Wallet who's very passionate about Unisocks, and a lot of other people. I think even Vitalik was wearing socks and he was tucking his pants under the socks. So there's a strange sort of love of socks with Web3 community. I don't know where it's going, but it's fun to see socks being the new trendy thing in Web3. And coming to that, would love to know about artists and what do they think, not about socks, but brands in general. And are socks the new brands? That's not the question, but yeah, go ahead, Kashish.
Yeah, I think the fashion brand and the whole metaverse collaboration is a very interesting thing to see. Like I recently saw one like avatar project. I'm like really forgetting the name, but it was I think in collaboration with this well-known artist called Takashi Murakami, and they came up with I think collectibles. It was Nike probably, and I really loved how they like how expressive their characters were, and I think that's another interesting thing. Like with avatars, you have a lot of like flexibility when it comes to like expressiveness. So one like interesting and also like almost funny the feature of like metaverse and avatars would be that you'll be able to express yourself more in terms of like fashion, because in real life there are certain things which are out of you, like beyond your control. Like you might want to have a certain hairstyle with a certain outfit, and that usually might not work out because everyone has their own bodies. And I'm not saying that it's a bad thing, but sometimes you kind of feel like limited in terms of like how expressive you can go. um, Again, like all power to those who can still pull it off, but yeah, it definitely opens up a lot of options in terms of that type of expressiveness. Like I can make my skin color green and wear like red sneakers. No one's stopping me from doing that in metaverse, right?
I think no one's stopping it, but it'll be very weird.
Yeah, I mean in real life too, but I can't like turn for real green.
I think your mom will stop you, Kashish. I'm kidding. Karan, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, brands in the space. It's as Slobo said, it's there's always an awkward phase when brands enter a space, and it got really weird when like Budweiser and Pepsi and everybody were like bag me and the friend and all that kind of stuff. It was kind of cringy. But apart from that, social media cringe. Execution. Usually, how they've been able to do is they see where the money is, and then they figure out how they figure out the quickest entry possible, and they get in on it, ASAP. But that's not how it works here. And products are seeing that now. You're seeing the Pepsi drop happen, and it started off with all this hype, but provided basically nothing to. They brought nothing to the table, so the floor dropped down to like dropped down by 80% or 85%. So. And you also see a lot of other brands like come in here, get their ENS names, and do that. They're trying to be part of the thing, but they don't fully understand it. And because of crypto's gray area legislation, border to border, no company wants to no main like at least the mainstream companies like Budweiser or something wants to really like dip all of like fully commit to the thing yet. They're kind of trying to like passively participate as much as possible. So we're going to see that for a while. But I've seen some brand collaborations work well when they kind of approach it with an open mind and openly accept instruction from the people that are already in the space rather than just kind of come in and say this is what we want to do you want to be a partner or not, kind of a mindset. So I think the brands that really like take their time to understand the space, and understand the people and understand the community and understand why this space is working, despite all the things that their business school has taught them. They need to kind of get in the nitty gritty, and the ones that do that early will make the most money. Eventually, again, like eventually, capitalism will win, and the space will be gentrified enough for most people to come in, using just their phones or something. And at that point, all brands will be there. But in the initial run, the first ones that really do it right, and take the community in mind, will probably be the front runners by a long shot, in like 10 years. But how it'll be with the brands, I don't know. I'm just assuming it's going to be a lot of capitalism on the place.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a really interesting perspective. You said one point over there that people would be able to buy it from their phones. I sort of have a different perspective. I think that NFTs will really explode in 3 to 4 years when people have like AR glasses or stuff. Like when they're able to see their maybe their real self wearing a digital cloth, or some kind of their avatar being in the augmented reality glasses. I think that's when it starts to become more clearer for most people the kind of value that NFTs could hold, because you'd literally see it in front of you, in front of your glasses. And so that's the part that I'm like more bullish about, where I can see NFTs making a lot more sense and clicking for more people. Whereas right now they think, oh, it's just right click, save as JPEG. What's the point? All of that. So yeah. So the final question, I think it's been really fun talking to all of you, and I've got to learn so much. And we'll also be putting it out on YouTube, hopefully. So anyone who listens to it now, in the next 30 days or for eternity, can listen to the kind of perspectives that all of us shared. One last moonshot question. Feel free to whoever wants to take this. Slobo said that in the beginning that I see avatars as sort of the ultimate way to express yourself in the digital world, and I think that's kind of the question in the end. So, do you think will avatars become our primary identity in the world? Anyone who wants to take that, go ahead.
I mean, this is a very biased perspective. I also work with ENS, which is all the Ethereum name service. So I do think, your global username is going to come from ENS, and the moment you have that username, you're going to want to express yourself. So I think everybody is going to have an avatar. Everybody's going to need an avatar, but you know, if you look at like YouTube comments, maybe like 50% or 30% of the people have like a distinct image. So whatever the adoption of avatars are in like the broader market currently, that's what it's going to be in the future. But obviously, that's a tremendous amount of growth when you have 7 billion people onboarded to the internet and crypto. So that's my big like vision statement there.
Awesome. Khan or Kashish, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I mean I would love for the whole avatar situation to be very widely accepted, so much so that it becomes the primary identity. Not maybe not the primary, but yeah, it's accepted enough for it to be like very uh, widely used. Because again, so metaverse is basically your digital identity, right? And if you can have a face attached to it, which is um, which comes with all the bells and whistles of being able to customize it and all, it will be something very, I think, interesting in terms of a concept. And I think I can see it becoming like a very widely used thing.
Muskan, go ahead.
Yeah, so here I would like to say that I have a different point of view. Okay, so I think this should be avatar should be converging point for our digital and physical life, not one taking over another. There should be balance, because like in physical life also, we talk about physical and mental well-being and stuff. So we have to leverage this metaverse space, avatar space for good for the humanity and other all the industries we are talking about. But we should not let it affect our like physical life in a very primary way or in a very big way. So just use it for our leverage, the thing we are doing with internet. Okay, so I feel there should be a balance, and it should just be a converging point for our both the life, digital life and physical life. That's it. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a great perspective. Thank you for bringing sense to our panel who was just getting so mission driven and got lost in the whole avatar space. I think Karan, we'll end with you. You add to what Muskan said or what any other panelists said.
I mean, yeah, I mean, there's again, like it's so early, I can't really know, but like I see, I know that with the modern, with the real world, getting more and more surveilled, tracked, and known. Um, the metaverse provides a place for people to kind of be not just one, like an online version and a real life version, but like 10 different people in one, on the internet. They can have each avatar that they have could be a different person that not like a fully different person, but like how they act in certain places. And you see something similar happening now with people who are in different NFT communities and how they are in one community versus how they are in the second. You'll be able to you'll be able to explore all facets of yourself rather than have to only kind of pick one, to kind of explore. So I think that will be very interesting. I still think it's going to be extremely fluid. Like people will just have like 50 of like, look at it right now. So many people, a lot of the early players in the space who've been here since early last year or end of 2020, they have like 25, 30 different projects. Like that's 30 different people that they can be at any given point of time, in the future if things are a little bit more immersive. So the possibilities are endless. We might be looking. I mean, I don't know how this will affect human psyche if like somebody had 1,000 different ways that they were being online, but I guess we're going to find out together because that's kind of where we're going to end up one way or the other.
I completely agree, Karan. I think that's a great way to look at it. As I said in right, like Balaji says, things that are constant are becoming variables. So our identity is in a way also constant. It's just considered like we have one identity, and I can see that becoming a variable as well. And we are having multiple identities in the digital world, like we do right now, our Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, but that expressed in the form of multiple avatars. So yeah, awesome. Thank you so much, guys, for everyone for being here. And if anyone's who just jumped in right now, this will be available on YouTube as well. We do this every Friday around 8:30 p.m. IST, and we discuss different topics. So feel free to jump in, ask questions every time. We're very excited about the kind of avatars we are creating. They're called buddy avatars in the metaverse. They're identical looking to you, but we look forward to different ideas, and we appreciate all the kind of people. And we wish all of you, all our guest speakers, luck in the kind of projects that you're working on. Muskan, Karan, Kashish, Slobo. Thank you so much again for coming. And one last question to Karan: do you ever see your art coming on socks?
I mean, 10K does have a PFP option for one of my characters, but I mean, why not? Yeah, if someone wants to buy my art on a sock, I will gladly oblige. Who's to say what is right or wrong?
Awesome. So that was it, guys, from my side. Thank you again so much. And the future is Art on Socks. Thank you so much for attending. I am Poshak Dua from Trace Network Labs, and see you again next week. Thank you guys. Bye bye. Take care.